Today, we're heading deep into the snowy countryside of northern Japan to sketch a quaint village so beautiful that it supposedly inspired Studio Ghibli's Spirited Away, all while trying my best not to freeze my fingers off. Along the way, I'll be hugging an adorable baby fox, getting bullied by another one, and skiing past the otherworldly snow monster trees of the mountain peaks. Leaving the buzz of Tokyo behind, we hopped on a 2-hour bullet train toward the Zao region in Yamagata Prefecture, a place famous for its dramatic winter snowscapes. After picking up a rental car, we ventured even further out into the countryside. It's so refreshing to escape the city for these rolling hills and tiny houses tucked under a thick blanket of white snow. These rural roads are very carefully maintained to remove the snow and ice, so even with our little budget rental car, it's surprisingly easy to drive here. Although these beautiful views right outside are definitely distracting. Our first stop is Ginzan Onsen, which translates to Silver Mountain Hot Spring. The place feels frozen in time, with rows of traditional bathhouses and wooden inns lined along a winding river. While the Spirited Away connection has never been officially confirmed, walking through these streets does feel like stepping right into a hand-painted frame from the film. I spotted an innkeeper shoveling snow directly into the rushing river, and honestly, it looked so therapeutic that I was tempted to pay her to have a turn at it. In the heart of town, there's a free public footbath with the local hot spring water. It looks so warm and inviting in this cold weather. As I walked around looking for somewhere to sketch from, I found a spot on a bridge overlooking the village. In addition to the footbath, it even had a little table for drawing. It was the ultimate cozy sketching setup, or it would have been until I realized I was wearing thick winter tights that go all the way from my toes to my waist. I briefly entertained the idea of taking off my tights in front of everyone in the middle of town square, but I decided that freezing my butt off was a little bit too literal for the day. Instead, I found a quiet corner with a bench and an incredible view of the Riverwalk. I cleaned out the snow and ice as best as I could and settled down to sketch. I had to keep my rag glove off so I have better control over my pen. And to address the elephant in the room, yes, it definitely was freezing. But this isn't my first rodeo sketching in the snow. I've reached that zen state where you just sort of accept the feeling of slowly turning into a human popsicle and start to enjoy this truly unique experience. If anything, the cold forced me to be looser and faster in my sketching. This feels a lot more natural and lively than sketching from a photo afterwards. I love how the heavy snowfall made everything look round and soft and chubby, so I took extra care to emphasize the details in those pillowy shapes. I also tried to change up the color of the snow as I went, adding a little bit more ultramarine here, some cerulean there, and more purple over here. Since the overall color palette is still relatively monotone with all these grayish blues, I snuck in a few pops of red for interest. I even imagined the little kimono-wearing couple in the scene. It is a hot spring town after all, so it felt right to add a little bit of life and traditional style. I also squeezed in a tanuki statue that I spotted across the river. They're playful raccoon creatures in Japanese folklore and a symbol of good luck outside of storefronts. As the sun began to dip, the temperature dropped quickly, and I could start seeing some icy shards forming in my watercolor. These shimmering spots are not wet paint, but ice frozen from my watercolor on the page. I knew they would melt the moment I moved somewhere warmer, but it's still nice to see these little touches of magic that the local weather added to my sketchbook. And here's the finished sketch. I wrapped up just as dusk fell over the village and the bathhouses began to glow. Between the blue tint of night and the warm yellow of the lamps, the village truly started to transform, just like that scene at the beginning of Spirited Away where the bathhouse comes alive with spirits at nightfall. This is one of those special moments where real life is just that magical. The next morning, we put on our ski gear and took the gondola all the way up to the very top of Mount Zao. This was a long and extremely breathtaking ride, as the forest outside slowly changed from frost-covered trees to these chubby shapes that are so heavily laden with snow that they barely look like trees anymore. When we took off at the base of the mountain, it was a beautiful sunny day, but up here, the dense mist and pure white landscape makes it feel like a completely different planet from some sci-fi movie. These are the famed snow monsters of Zao. They're icy trees that form each winter from a rare atmospheric condition where the cold Siberian winds meet the wet air from the Sea of Japan. There are only a few places on Earth where you can see this phenomenon, so it is quite the treat to be able to see them with my own eyes and ski past them. I've skied in many different places in Japan, but Zao is easily the most unique sight. This evening, we're staying at a traditional Japanese hot spring resort to wind down after a tiring day. Between the full day of skiing, a delicious multi-course wagyu dinner, and a very relaxing onsen hot spring, I wasn't able to get any sketching done, but hey, I think I've earned a little bit of rest for today. After another 2 hours of driving through the beautiful snowy countryside, we reached our last stop on this trip, Zao Fox Village. This is a fox-themed zoo where more than 100 foxes roam freely in a massive garden, all surrounded by nature. They really do seem to have a pretty chill life here, which is heartwarming to see. You can get very up close and personal with these playful critters, and perhaps a little too up close and personal. Despite that scary little episode, I still opted to participate in the Hug a Fox experience. I did have to put on these kinda ugly windbreaker jackets for protection, but I got to hug a little fox puppy, and he was just the sweetest, goodest boy ever. So adorable. Of course, I wanted to capture this experience in my sketchbook as well. I was hoping there might be a cute fox-themed cafe or something where I can draw inside with a nice cup of hot latte, but nope, it's a rustic zoo out in the middle of nowhere, so I had to resort to sketching while standing in the snow again. Due to my limited time here, I didn't do any undersketching and went in straight with a dark brown color pencil for the outlines and then layered on watercolors. It's pretty tricky to get all those subtle variations in fur color right, especially for the red foxes. And it most definitely did not help that my fingers were slowly freezing into numb oblivion. I'm still not 100% happy with the colors, and this certainly isn't my best work, but looking back, it's still a fun and memorable experience to be able to observe and draw these cute foxes in person, even if they're a little bit scary at times. Toward the end, it started snowing pretty hard, although it looked like the foxes were having a fine good time playing in the snow. The snowflakes started to stick to my still wet watercolor, so I'm hoping they'll create an interesting pattern similar to putting salt on watercolor. Even if it doesn't turn out exactly how I wanted, I still have a nice souvenir to remember my time here. I hope you've enjoyed this drawing adventure in the snow. If you want to see what art supplies I use for my travel sketches, check out this linked video on the screen here. And I'll see you next time on another sketching trip. Bye!